Hey everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. I am going to be demoing this card today or something very similar. Basically, what I want to showcase is doing a watercolor sky. So this is a night sky, just using watercolor. Use watercolor paints. I'm actually going to be using distress like re-inkers. So anything that's dye-based or that you can mix with water, that's what I'm going to be doing. So kind of demoing. This particular dye is absolutely adorable. This is a Spellbinders dye. It's called Pooh Bear and Friends Silhouette, and it is a base die, and you can cut it. So it's meant to be 6 inches. So you can actually use it on a um, what's the word for on a 12 by 12 layout. So you could do two of them. Um, so you can do that, but you can also use it on a card, which is great, and just kind of cut it down. This is still available on the Spellbinders website. I checked because it's just too cute and you might just really love it. But you could do this with any kind of grass background or silhouette. You could also do this if you were doing like some critters. Let's say you had painted or colored some lawn fawn critters and wanted to do a night sky, and you just need some grounding, and then you can put like some trees or you could do this with Lavinia, the Lavinia fairy silhouettes and trees, things like that. You could do that with that. Yeah, like some snowmen could do a snow and then have like northern lights or that kind of thing. But the one that I'm going to be demoing today is going to be utilizing with this die. The interesting thing with the die is that it's open along the bottom, so you can decide how much silhouette you want. So I could have come up here and had that be the ground right here, and then Christopher Robin would have been like closer up here. But I kind of liked having it low and having a lot of cards, open card space to showcase the background. Okay. If I remember, when I post the video, I will include a link for the die to Spellbinders. I'll include a link, but you can Google it as well. If I forget, just go onto the Spellbinders website, put in Pooh Bear and Friends silhouette die, and it should bring this up. Okay, so I'm going to put this aside, and we're going to talk about the technique and what we're going to do. So first thing that you will need is you will need some watercolor cardstock because we are using a lot of water, a lot of ink, those kind of things. You are going to need watercolor cardstock. Okay. Um, I have already done a piece of cardstock here. So this is going to go on to like a larger card base. It's going to go on to should have had this set. I don't know how come I didn't have it set when I started out here. Because I don't typically keep these by my side. There we go. This is the one I'm looking for. Sorry, guys. It's going to go on to a 5 by 6.5, right? So I want to be able to have my full silhouette. So I already pre-cut the silhouette. So I want to make sure that my card panel is going to fit on here. So I don't want to have to trim off too much. So this is going to be the size of card that I'm going to use. So I have a nice big card panel that I can trim down to fit on here, but I wanted to tape it to my hardboard. So there was another watercolor video that I just did using Distress re-inkers and embossed resist, right? Where I tape this down. So basically I've taken my watercolor cardstock. I think this might be Canson XL. It's either that or from the dollar store. Just cut it down and taped it using painter's tape so that it's a gentle tape to pull off, and just created, you can see here underneath, you can see the white under here, right? So I've just created a bit of a border, but I want to have the majority of this covered so that I can, or not covered, sorry, uncovered, so that I can actually add my water, etc. Right? I want a nice surface to paint on, and then I can trim down or whatever. So I've taped this down onto, this is just a simple clipboard that I can lift, tilt, move around, and put aside to let it dry. Yeah. So that's what you're going to want to do. This is just from the dollar store. It's a nice, inexpensive clipboard. It gives me enough space that I can put this on. I don't need the fancy thing yet because I'm not yet. I don't do a ton of watercoloring. I'm not a by any means a professional at it or anything like that. I just watch some videos and it's like, hey, I can do that, so why not? And I have the supplies, so let's do it. Okay. So this is what I'm going to be working on to start with. The colors that I'm going to be playing with, like I said, I'm going to be using Distress Ink re-inkers. So I've got a few colors here. Okay, so I've got Fossilized Amber, Twisted Citron, Blueprint Sketch, Peacock Feathers, Chip Sapphire, and Villainous Potion. So when I look at this card, the one that what I had previously done, when I look at this, so I've got down below here, I'm pretty sure I did like a ice spruce to kind of give it some grounding, but it's nice because this already has ground. So I don't need to do that. But I liked how you can pull out images of starry skies or night skies and, kind of see what you like and then how you want to do this. So this kind of ended up looking like almost like sunset, but with the sun that has gone down. So there's kind of a glow. They could be walking, and this could be a town in the background. Like you can create your whole own story, and Lord knows that I do. So, this glow from behind was really kind of cool. And then, so this was the fossilized amber. And then I brought in, I want to say it was kind of the peacock feathers because it was a lighter blue. No, I'm lying. Then I brought in the blueprint sketch. So that's this area here, chip sapphire, and then villainous potion because that added that nice deep intense darkness to the night sky, right? When you're use blah, 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 when you're using watercolors, you want to remember that they're going to dry back quite a bit. This looked very intense when I was coloring it, like when I was watercoloring it, and it dried back quite a bit. The benefit of using a re-inker, whether you have Memento re-inkers, Catherine Pooler re-inkers, um, Simon Says Stamp or scrapbook.com dye-based re-inkers. Needs to be a dye-based so you can mix it with water. When you're utilizing a re-inker like this, it's already like it's a concentrated color. So you can add water to it. So you will get a more intense saturation than you would if you were usually utilizing just like a regular watercolor palette, because this is very, very intense, unless you've mixed your own. But if you're getting you could do this technique with like a Crayola palette. The challenge is that you have to have a lot of water, and you want to add a lot of ink onto your brush. Watch the other video that I have of watercolors. I'll link it at the end too, so that you can like flip back and forth. I'm not sure which video is going to come out first, but you want to watch that one because you really want to take a lot of color from your Crayola kids water palette and add it to your paper. You don't want that to be watered down too much in order to get the intense color, because otherwise it'll be quite pastel. Uh, which is a good look. There's nothing wrong with that. That might be what you're looking for. If it is, perfect, go with that. But if you want a deep and intense saturated color, you want as much ink on your brush, taking that to the paper as possible. Okay. But for me, I'm going to be using, like I said, re-inkers because they will have an intense color to begin with. So this is what I have done previously. Kind of having that glow behind and then going from there. I think what I want to try and do though is a bit more of a night sky, almost like if they were on a mountain and then you could see, I don't know, almost like a galaxy or something like that. So I think that I'm going to bring in, instead of doing a yellow, I'm also going to add in maybe some peacock feathers and maybe some twisted citron, almost making it look like it's got northern lights. Here in Canada, we get the northern lights and they're absolutely gorgeous. It was one of my favorite things about when I was piloting is that I got to see the northern lights quite a bit. Okay. So as I said, these are going to be quite intense. I'm not going to have to use a lot of them either. So I'm going to move those to the side for a second, and I'm going to bring out the rest of my tools. So I have 2 cups of water here. So the first one is going to be my clean pot, clean water that I can pull from. And I'm just going to put that there out of frame here. The second one, this is going to be my swooshing one to kind of clean off my brush because I'm going to be utilizing a lot of water. And then I just have a little bit of paper towel, or if you're in the UK, kitchen towel off to the side here so I can kind of damp or uh, use your words, Cream, so I can kind of pull or pull some of the water and kind of clean it off, wipe it off, right? So I'm not going super, super saturated wet. The other thing that is important for this particular kind of technique for watercoloring is you're going to be putting down a lot of water, a lot of color without having a lot of I'm not looking to have detail. So I have, this is kind of, I think it's kind of called I mean, it looks like a calligraphy brush. I think I got this from the dollar store actually, which is awesome because again, I don't do this a lot. I'm not a professional watercolor at all. I don't do it a lot. So I don't want to have to invest a lot until I get better at it. So, I got this, but it's kind of like a mop brush. So it has and you can see here, I didn't do a super good job cleaning it. So let's swish that off and just give it a dry off to the edge here. So it is a thicker brush, so it will hold a lot of water into it, which is what I want to do. I want to bring water to my paper and to that and to my colors. And then I just have another separate thing of paper towel here to the side to sop up anything that's like, ooh, that's a little bit too much. Okay, so I'm going to start with putting down my colors. And you'll see that I'm not going to be utilizing a lot. So the nice thing is these come in a dropper so that you can add them to your ink pads. So I've got 1 drop of twisted citron. I don't need a lot. Okay. And then I'm going to come in with the peacock feathers. Not a lot of that one. Next one I'm going to do is the blueprint sketch. And this one I might do 2 or 3 just so that there's a little bit more there. Next one down is going to be the chipped sapphire. So I'm trying to, because once the 3 darker colors, like the blueprint sketch, the chipped sapphire, and then the villainous potion, once those go down, they're very difficult to tell the difference. You guys might not be able to see it. I can see the difference between the twisted citron and the peacock feathers. I can see that visually, but these 3 will be quite challenging to see until I add the water and kind of smoosh them around. Okay, so that's the blueprint sketch. And then this is the villainous potion. This is just such a pretty card. Such a pretty color. I mean, actually, it does end up being a very pretty card, but that was not what I meant to say. Okay, so now what I want to do is I'm going to take my distress sprayer, just actually any sprayer that you have. This is just the one that I happen to have. And I'm going to do a preliminary spray on my watercolor paper just to kind of start the process of the water moving, it absorbing, and that kind of thing. Okay, so that I stay in frame, I am going to tilt this a little bit more towards me. Please ignore the Christmas Mickey Mouse Santa sweater that I have on the go. It's the beginning of January, and I don't get to wear these for the whole year, and so I'm when I'm filming, it's the beginning of January. So to me, it's still Christmas break. I haven't gone back to work yet. So I start wearing these mid-November till usually the second week of January, just because I really like them. So I'm going to go into my clean water pot here. I can bring that actually in. My clean water pot, pick up some water onto my brush, and then I'm going to go into my color. Look at how pretty that is there. And I'm going to add just a little bit of color in this area here. And I do want a little bit of shots of the color going that way. Okay. So now I'm just taking my brush and I'm putting it into my swish pot. Okay. And then I'm going to wipe it off a little bit here, just to make sure that I'm not going to get too much color contamination. Okay. Now this is the peacock feathers. And I want to come in beside a little bit, give it a little bit of a shot of color here. And kind of like that. Yeah, again, going to put in some water. Now I'm going to go into the blueprint sketch. This one I'm going to add a little bit more into the base of my card here. And again, this is the nice thing about this, as I've said, I'm not a professional or anything like that. So I don't need to, I'm just trying to move my color in and around onto my board. I just putting the color down and then I'm going to play with it. Okay. So I don't want to have to do, currently, I don't want to have to do anything that I'm too specific for because I don't really know how to do that. There's lots of beautiful tutorials out there. One of my friends has really been getting into watercoloring, and she created just some beautiful, beautiful cards. And it's just amazing to watch and to see. So I know for a fact that there are some beautiful availability of tutorials, etc., that you can watch and learn from, and provide and just have really amazing results that can just be, that you can just be really proud of and whatever, which is what we want, right? We're looking at making these cool uh, pieces of art. That's what our cards are, etc., is pieces of art. And we want to be able to showcase them and be proud of what we've done. So, and this is why, so you can see here now, because I'm adding some really intense colors. This is why I have my clean cup and my dirty cup here. And, I like to have them separate, not right next to each other, because otherwise then I tend to get, if I'm not paying enough attention, I'll dip into one and then now I don't have the clean water anymore. Okay, so now I'm going to pick this up and I'm going to go into the villainous potion. How cool is that color there? And I'm going to come in at the top, looking at my color, adding in at the top, just like that. I'm going to come along the sides as well a little bit. I want to have a little bit of that coming in, just like this. Okay, now I'm going to put that to the side here, and let's see here, I can put in and pick up just a little bit more. Loving the intensity and how that's coming along. Let me just do a little bit along the bottom here too. A little bit like that because it'll wick up into there. Okay, so I'm gonna put that to the side here. Now I'm gonna pull my spritzer and I want to give just a couple of spritzes. And here's why you want this on a board. Okay, number one, we're gonna pick up a little bit of this, but I can also have this. I want to tip it and I want those colors to start wicking. You can start to see, look at the cool, um, uh, almost like a finger effect that we're getting here. And you can watch the water. Sorry, I'll get that closer into frame there. Watch the water start to tip. Now I'm seeing the peacock feathers and the blueprint sketch. They're starting to move in and out. Get those colors, deep, intense colors that we're getting there. And if I want that to come further this way, I can tip to the right. See how that moves, bringing it in. And I can tip it this way. Because I like to see, look at how the colors, I'm starting to get some really interesting streaking happening there. And if I need to get this moving in another area, so see, I've got these kind of areas of this blue here, I can come in and just touch down there and get that moving a little bit more. There we go. Tip here. And want some of this deeper purple to move here. That coming down. And add just a little bit of water there. And, whoop, and clipped it too far. Clipped it too far. No. Move it around. Move it around. And tipping it, bringing it back down. Now, again, the interesting thing with this kind of technique, which is also good, particularly because I'm not like, ooh, I don't know everything about this, and which is fun, sometimes to learn about and see, can I do these kinds of things? Sure, why not? Right? It's all a practice. It's only paper. If I don't like it, I can certainly either clean up. I can pull out another piece of paper. It wasn't anything to have to tape this down or any of those kind of things. It's very, very simple. Mhm. But if I decide I don't like it, I can go back and I can start again or just continue to play with it. You never know what you're going to end up liking. So let's add a little bit more water in there. I want to bring some of the blue, so I might need to. Let's do this and see if I can get some more blue in here because I do want a little bit more blue coming in through the greens here into that green because I want to have, the northern lights tend to be like they kind of streak in through the sky. So these lighter colors like the peacock feathers and the green, they streak. So what's happening here? That's what the nighttime sky would look like when we have when it's cold enough out and we have the northern lights. So let's move some of that. Let's pick up some of this blue and still continue to move your colors there. Now that I've got these down on my palette or on my card here, I can just continue to move them, have have a little play, have a little fun. Truthfully, this is the best way to learn how to use your supplies, the things that you have, is to pull it out and just try. Even though you're not perfect at it, you don't know what it's going to do. Um, sorry, just give it a go and try and see because um, yeah, you never know what you're going to do or, sorry, excuse me, what you can accomplish unless you try. Right? That's the most important thing is what can how do I practice with this? How do I play with this? The beautiful thing about our this particular medium that we use with it just being paper, there's always more paper. There's always more and paper, inexpensive supply. It's not like we have to buy canvases, to learn how to watercolor on or like more expensive things like wrought iron or even things like 3D printing or, like those kind of supplies that can be quite expensive. Paper is very, well, okay, I was going to say paper is very inexpensive. It's not. There's a lot of things that can make paper quite expensive, depending on the style and everything like that. But your average sheet of paper, when you break it down, is not pricey, right? There's lots that we can do there, and we've got a lot of supplies and a lot of things. And so again, this is it's why I suggest, because I don't know about you guys, but I do get, obviously I am cost conscious. I like to have good value for my dollar, and for my supplies and the things that I'm doing. But that's one of the reasons why I will also start with a lot of things from Temu or AliExpress or from the dollar store. So I don't know if I like this. If I like it, then I will invest, excuse me, in some really good, like really deep, good quality um uh supplies and things like that. But there's no point in paying for artist quality watercolor if I can't do it, or these kind of things. I can get this booklet of watercolor paper from Michael's for buy one get one, or it costs me I think $15 if you get it to use a coupon, something like that. Okay, so I'm just going to bring my heat it tool in. I'm kind of liking the streakiness that I'm getting here. This I think this will make a really cool night sky. Okay. So I'm just going to dry it in place just a little bit. So I have my heated tool here, or my craft tool by Ranger. And this is actually what it was for, is for mixed media type projects, because it will heat without, it'll get very hot, but it won't blow too many things around. Okay, there we go. Okay, so there's kind of these edges. I just wanted to, oops, sorry, move my light around there. Let's hang that back up. So that's where we're at so far. I'm going to let the rest of it dry on its own. So you can see here, I've got a couple of deep pooling areas, and I'm going to just bring in my paper towel, wick the edge here. Okay. So that is still moving. Now I could come in and spray this some more if I want, but I really like the deep tones. Like how cool is that looking? That's pretty funky dunky. I like it. Okay, so I'm going to put this aside and let that dry. And then I'm going to clean up a little bit here. And through the magic of television editing, I have my thing here on the side. So I'm just going to dab out my paintbrush here so that it doesn't sit in the water. So typically your paintbrushes will be waterproof to the point where the metal is. So you can leave it, if your water isn't too deep, you could actually leave this sitting in water. It would be fine. Might rust a little bit, but I don't, so it's not a recommended thing. But the wood part of this is not waterproof. So that if you leave that sitting in water and standing water for too long, that will eventually begin to break down and rot or whatever. Okay. So now for my watercolors that are here. Now you can see here, look at it. If I could just, again, if I'd have planned, I don't know why I keep forgetting to do this in these videos that I'm doing, but I could actually add some water to that just as I have, and then do some ink smooshing on a background and utilize those colors for just creating another background using the colors, which would be really lovely. But here we go. So that's pretty good cleanup there. I am going to pull in my baby wipe just to make sure it's cleaned. Have any overspray here? And here too. I'm going to keep these because I'm going to make a bit of a mess here in a minute. But the through editing, this is the background that I did and had sitting aside to the dry, so that I could work on and complete the project with you. Okay, so now it has been taped down, it has been dried. Now for this particular one, this is the one, like I said, I used fossilized amber, blueprint sketch, chip sapphire, and villainous potion. And essentially I just did them in almost like a rainbow wash like this. So I same process, did that. And I just did the yellow, and then I did the blue, and then I did the darker blue, and then I did the purple. And then I sprayed it and just kind of tipped it back and forth like that. Okay. Very similar process. This one, I just wanted to kind of create a bit more of a galaxy sky. This one is again going to have our, like this is our town. This is where they're, coming through. I managed to get a white splatter on my Christopher Robin. How funny is that? Okay. All right, so now I'm going to pull off my tape. So there's a right way and a wrong way to pull off your tape when you're doing this. So what you want to do is you want to get to an edge and you want to fold your tape back on itself like this. This way, your tape will pull away and it won't tear your project, because this is, again, it's still paper, and we have added so much water to this that your paper is quite delicate. Paper's delicate to begin with, but now that we've stretched, when you add water to your paper, you stretch the fibers and kind of break down the fibers a little bit. So you want to be quite gentle. Pull your tape back in on itself at a 45-degree angle. Pull it back in on itself. Okay? And then you really minimize. Now, it's not going to be, typically I don't get any tearing, but if I do get some, it's very minimal. But this will, that trick or that technique, hack, if you will, really helps to prevent that or minimize your risk. Okay. And you can see that I've utilized this board many times. That kind of, the paint kind of saturates into there, but it doesn't come up when I'm doing anything. It doesn't soak into the paper or anything. So it's fine. Okay, so this then gets thrown away. You can see here. So I'm going to have to trim down my card front, trim the border off. So let's start with that. Make that a nice straight edge. So, wait. Okay, so now I want to bring in my die cut because I'm going to have to see how big I want this. So let's do I'm going to need to trim it a little bit because I didn't leave more black on the ends. So I am going to need to trim my die cut so that the edge of it, sorry, not trim my die cut, I'm going to trim my card panel so that the edge of it is equal or right at the edge of my die here. Okay. So I'm going to do that before I do anything else um, on my panel to get this ready. Okay, so like that edge there. And I'm going to pull my die cut out of the way so that I don't end up possibly cutting it, because that would be, let's be honest, that's a reality here. Right, I'm going to pull that in a little bit here, get it to the edge. And I don't even mind if I have my edge going over a little bit, because then I can trim it from behind. So I'm actually going to do this. I know that I need a little bit more than 1/4 of an inch. So right around there would be good. Okay, so that's that. Here's my die cut. So I'm going to see here, this fits on there. And to that edge, to that edge. Nope, I need to do a little bit more because you can see, oops, let's slice myself there. You can see here right at the edge, I cut it at almost a little bit of an angle on my die cut. So because that, you can see that sunset there. I don't want that. I want this to be right to the edge. So I'm going to cut this off here a little bit more. And we're gonna line that up. I don't mind if my die cut goes over the edge a little bit because I can, once I glue it down, I can turn it over and trim it from the back, all of these little edges here, right? So you can see here, I see no color on this side and there's no color showing on this side. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, so now that I have my panel trimmed to where I need my panel to be trimmed, now I want to look at my card base because let's take care of that while it's all together. So how much of a border am I getting here? That's not bad. It's pretty even on there. So I think I'll leave my card base and just make sure that I do get it fairly centered when I go to glue it down. Okay, so that's good. We can put the paper trimmer away for now. All right, so the next thing that I want to do, there's two things that I'm going to do. So first of all, because I did get some white paint splatter on here, I want to show you, this isn't going to just kill my die cut. There's no point in wasting that. So you can see here at Christopher Robin's butt, right? I've got a little bit of white. So what I'm going to do is, now the paint has really dried on there, so I can't get it off. So what I'm going to do is take my Bic marker, or my Sharpie, if you have Sharpie. So your permanent black dark marker, and I'm just going to dab it onto there to cover that. Ta-da! No more black mark. But Kareem, we can see where that little mark is on his butt. I know. How about that? Hey, so to take care of that, what I'm going to do is, and you can't, it doesn't show up really well in the on the die cut here, but underneath I sprayed my die cut with some shimmer spray. And then once I had glued it down, I put glossy accents on top of it to make it this really pretty shiny and make it the focal point on the card, right? So that's what I'm going to do here. I have this sheer shimmer spray, craft spray. This one's called Sparkle. So you can get one that has gold or one that has silver in it, one that has an iridescent. I'm pretty sure this one is the iridescent one, so it's kind of a white iridescent-ish. If you don't have something like this, you could actually put some perfect pearls, the white, the perfect pearls color, into like a spray bottle, and some water. Shake it up so you can see here. I have a little bit of that still in here, because that's what this one used to be, and that creates your own shimmer spray without having to buy it. So just off to the side here, I'm going to give this a quick spray, just so I don't get it all over my craft mat there. But look at how it gives this really pretty shimmer. So it helps to create, makes your die cut or your focal image really stands out a little bit more. Okay, so I'm going to put that to the side. This is going to need a moment to dry because, again, that just got sprayed 3 or 4 times. And of course, the more that I spray it, the more intense that sparkle or that shimmer would be. But I'm just doing a few because I don't need it to be super intense. Now, for my card, what I need to do though is now I want to add some stars because it's a starry night, right? So I'm taking a flat brush here, and it's kind of got a so kind of like a nylon bristle, like they're pretty sharp plastic. And I'm going to add some stars, like some, I'm going to do some splatter on here. There are a couple of ways of doing splatter. Okay, so I'm going to do, I'm using some acrylic white paint. This is Dinah Wakley Media acrylic white paint. And I'm going to take some and I'm going to put a little bit onto my board here, onto my non-stick surface. You don't have to use a board. Um, you don't have to use this, but this is how I like to do it. You can do if you have, do I have one? Well, this isn't it, but this is my snow writer. But if you have like an acrylic marker, you can come in and kind of go splat, 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 splat. You can do that and put paint, make some stars on the sky. I don't have, I do have a white one, but I'm not sure where it is. It seems to be misplaced at the moment. So I'm going to go with what I've got. And so I'm going to use some acrylic paint. What's nice about this is that it doesn't pick up as much of the color beneath it either. This particular white one, which makes for nice uh, makes it nice to splatter with so that your stars will stay white. The other thing that I'm going to show you how to do is I'm putting some on some of the white paint onto an acrylic block. Then what I'm going to do is give it a little bit of a spray of some water, and I'm going to mix this like this and mix the water and the paint together to get it to a really nice consistency. The reason why I'm doing this on a block, if you don't have a paintbrush like this, which is like this nylon one, which is really, it has a harsh flick to it. It doesn't bend, right? Like if you look at it, it's not super flexible compared to like my fan brush. Look at how easily these softer bristles bend back, right? So this will give me, this black one here will give me a really stiff um, uh, flick. And I'm going to take this off the end of my stamp block here and just direct it at my page like this. Okay. This is giving me a very fine spritz of stars. Can you see where all of those little white things got added on? Okay, so that gives me a very fine spritz doing it that way. We could do, add some water to this now. Okay, and I'm going to do this. Now, I can take my finger and go spritz, 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 spritz. Okay, can do that. Also, this is a very good idea to do this in a splat box or something, because that's actually how I got the white on the cut over there, was doing this splattering. And yeah, it turns out it can go everywhere. If you don't have this, the other thing you can do, now it's not going to work on this because this brush is quite stiff. But if I had my like the fan brush, you can put it in here and then tap like this, and you will get some splatters. I also ended up, because that's what I was using yesterday, or when I made the card example, that's how I got a few of those lines, which then kind of end up looking like almost like shooting stars or galaxies. So here's where I'm at so far. So you can see the like the splatter. Okay. But what I want to do is I'm going to come in and add a little bit more paint because I want some slightly bigger stars. Because the smaller ones, like they look like they're further away, right? Which is not bad. Might use this thing. Okay, so I'm going to pull in my fan brush. You can see how much it moves that paint around, spreads it out, and let's see if we can get that to go. Oh yeah, see a couple of bigger dots. And I can feel it moving towards me here. Let's see, can we get it to work? Off the edge here. Let's pick this up and go. Mm -hmm. Mm -hmm. A little bit of water there. That and go. Whoop. You can even hear the difference of like the right? Like the just how hard this brush is compared to the other brush. Okay, so now I'm just going to put this to the side to dry for a moment or two, and I'm going to give a bit of a cleanup here. And to clean up, because this is acrylic paint, so I don't want it to sit in anything for too long. So, because it'll dry on there. It's not permanent, obviously, but once it's dry, it's much more difficult to clean up. So I'm cleaning off uh, the edges of my stamp block here. And then I'm going to come in and kind of move the paint around like this and smoosh it through my brush. And then I'm just going to put these into, now that I'm kind of moving the paint around, etc., just into my water pot that is off to the side here, which is handy. And I am going to utilize my paper towel that was here because we don't want to, it's just going to be picking up the paint. So it doesn't have to be super clean because I'm going to come in with a baby wipe as well. But you can see like all these little fine spots here. This is why it's a good idea to do your splattering into a container, like whether you've got a little Tupperware container or you've got a splat box. I have a splat box someplace. I thought I had seen it the other day when I was cleaning up. I didn't because I went to look for it and was like, oh, I could demo that. Who knows where it went to? It's here someplace in my stash here someplace. I know I just got to find it because it's still folded up. That's the problem. Once it's open and everything, it's much easier to find. But guess what? I didn't open the darn thing. On the upside, this extra time to clean up for it is giving time for my stars to dry so that we can continue with the card. Clean off the paint off my finger. Mouse, a little bit of paint on my work surface. This is, again, another reason why you want to use a surface that is easy to clean up, whether it's a craft mat, like the silicone barbecue mats, or the one that rolls up, like I think it's I think it's a Ranger craft mat. So it's a non-porous, non-stick surface that you can use, and your paints will clean off of it. Depending on the dyes and the colors in your paint, some of it will stain. Mine is quite stained, but that's okay. This is a glass mat. Glass mats clean up so nicely, so easily, which is great because this is what I do all the time, and I end up making quite the mess. And now I had a microfiber cloth. Just dry that off. All right. Let's give that a dry off, and we're going to see here. So I've got one pretty big dot there that I don't want to stick anything down on. So I'm just going to give this a quick dry to make sure that my stars are dried. I'm also going to pull my die cut out here, make sure that it's dry too, give it a bit of a heating up, making sure that it's dry from that the spray that I used. Now, if you wanted to make this more intense, now the colors are quite intense already to begin with, but if you wanted to make this more intense, you could go in with like a dark, like black soot or something like that, and just ink blend around the edges to kind of add that focal point. Could do that if you wanted to. I don't feel like I need to do that. I'm pretty happy with how it's coming along here. So now I am going to add some adhesive to the back of my die cut. Now, the die cut, again, like I said, I trimmed off at this stage, but it can cut out anywhere in your black paper. So you could, if you wanted to, like put it here and have this all dark. And then you could actually stamp a sentiment and heat emboss on here instead of putting it up in the sky. I'm going to put mine up in the sky because I'm going to have this and have all of this beautiful space behind it. Okay? But again, that's up to you and how you want to decide and design your card. Okay, so for this one, I'm just going to go in and I want to make sure, because I did add that bit of liquid with the shimmer spray, I want to make sure that I'm getting pretty decent coverage. It's just paper, so it doesn't need a lot, but I do want to make sure that I'm catching like the ears, all of the legs, etc. of the die cut. And of course, I'm using my glue press by my sweet petunia, and in here I have Barely Art glue or adhesive, liquid adhesive. It's my preferred adhesive of choice these days. I use art glitter glue as well. That works great. But this is the one I find that this is affordable for me. It can be shipped in the winter time, and I get good consistent coverage with it. Dries clear, all of the things. Okay, so now I'm gonna come in here and I want to make sure that I am catching the edge of my cardstock here and here. Good. And then I'm just going to press down and I'm going to quickly come in with some stamp blocks here to make sure that that's going to adhere down. Catch it all the way. Like so. I saw somebody making this card, similar technique. I chose different colors, etc. But she made this card. I'm pretty sure it was Christina Warner. And when I saw the die cut, I was like, oh my God, I have to have that. I just love it. If you couldn't tell by the Mickey Mouse sweater that I have on, I'm a big fan of Disney. My husband and I were married there, coming up in a couple of days here, 30 years ago. So we're getting ready to celebrate. We've been together 35 years and married for 30 years on the 9th here of January. This will be posting in February, I think. February, no, probably March. But yeah, so we're getting ready to celebrate our anniversary here. And I am quite the Disney fan, which is, of course, why I'm still wearing my uh, Christmas Mickey Mouse sweater. But when I saw this, I thought, oh my God, that's so beautiful. This could be a really cute card, like a birthday card for kids. Really nice, let's celebrate or thinking of you. This would be a beautiful, like a birth announcement or welcome little one card. So I just thought that would be just so nice. So I just trimmed the little bit of overhang that I had for the black, and then I trimmed the two sides here to make sure that it fit entirely on my panel. Okay. Now I am going to adhere this to my card base. And so I want to make sure that it's opening the right way. And now I could pop this up, but it has, as you can see, again, because I kept it taped to the hardboard while it dried, it is fairly flat. So I don't think I'm going to need to use foam tape to stick it down. So because foam tape, if you have a lot of curve or a lot of warping in your paper or your cardstock, like your card front, using foam tape, because it curves into all of those places and then will pull, because of the way that it adheres to all of the nooks and crannies on your card front, it will pull it and adhere it in a better way to your card front. So that's very handy if you have a lot of warpage. But if you don't, okay, you're way too far over, Green. Right, so there. Much better. Okay. If you don't have a ton of warpage, then you can just use liquid adhesive. If you don't want to add the extra bulk and like dimension, if you don't need to have that on your card, especially if you are somebody who mails cards versus handing them out. Sometimes you don't want all of that extra bulk, right? Because it just adds to the cost of the mailer. So it's nice to just have it being a single layer, right? Okay, so I'm just going to hold that down and give my adhesive time to activate and really grab onto the paper. Got a nice moving across the way here. And cute. Now, to finish off the card. So in the previous card, what I had done is I did this hooray. I cut it out in like a silver silver holographic cardstock. And but then I cut it out two more times out of black and kind of just shifted it to give it a bit of a shadow. So this, but I thought the gold would be kind of cool too, because there is so much like with the yellow here too. That's kind of fun, right? Hooray. So again, this could be hooray, and then on the inside stamp a happy birthday, or have like a sub sentiment, happy birthday, or congratulations, or welcome to your new home, or hooray, welcome little one. Like that could all go on the inside, right? Like that, or do the sub sentiment like I did here. See? So that's one option. Okay. The other thing that I had here, so you could even do something. I like the hooray just because I think it feels quite like a childlike, right? Which is what this would be. But could do this as a lovely thank you. That would work. Could do happy birthday. That looks nice. I've got this little celebrate here, just done in gold, gold foil. Okay. And like I can move it off to the side. There's lots of space to play with here. I've also got a little note to do that. Doesn't fit quite as well, but I also have this cute happy birthday, right? So I could do happy birthday here or here. See much what that looks like there. Lots of space over here. That works. Okay. The other one that I had that I thought was kind of fun that I've never used before is I have this woohoo. So I have this, and then I have a foiled sentiment of let's celebrate. How cool is that? Woohoo, let's celebrate. I love that. Okay, so that's the one that I'm going to use. This one I might pop up, but I'm going to start with, and I'm going to stick the woohoo down. Start with that. And this is very delicate, so there's no way I'm going to be able to. Now, I could have cut out 2 or 3 of these and then popped it up. But this was a last minute. I came across this just before I started the video, and I was like, oh, I love that. That could be really fun on there. And especially because I'm doing such a large, like such a nice wide card, this could be really kind of cute on there. And so I didn't get around to cutting it out a couple more times. But that is certainly an option. Okay, so I like this woohoo. Oh, wait a minute. Now I could do, if I popped up, whoopsie do. Okay. If I popped up the let's celebrate, I could do let's celebrate woohoo. Nope, I want woohoo, let's celebrate. That's and it makes more sense. So I'm just trying to center this kind of over Piglet. He seems to be about the center of the procession here. Okay. So I'll stick that down like that. And I'll put my little stamp blocks. I'll get some foam tape to stick behind this. And I've got these nice thin guys. Foam tape scissors. Right. Let's cut this one here. So I have these really nice thin foam strips here. And I think I got these from, I know Doris carried some, Penny Black, scrapbook.com carries some. Who else carries some? I don't know if I might have gotten these ones either from scrapbook.com or I got them from Temu, actually, because I found some on there and I was like, oh yeah, I love these things. They're so good. Without having to be all cutting your thicker foam tape down. If you don't like to use foam tape, what you could do is take any of your trimmings, like your white cardstock, when you trim it down, glue a few layers of that behind here. That works like a darn, and it's nice and strong too, which is great. But for the sake of expediency here, I am just going to do this and trim these. So this was Simon Says Stamp sheet of sentiments that I then just trimmed with, I foiled it. So it was black laser cut, no, sorry, laser printed sub sentiments. Let me see if I have a card print here. Oh, I do. There we go. So this is, now this is the Christmas one. So obviously this is not what it is, but it's black printed. So laser printed, or inkjet, whatever. So this is toner printed. So it's black with white. And then I ran it through. So I have, so your toner printing can be, you can foil on these, hot foil on them, but you have to have the right, you have to have a toner foil. And then you run it through a laminator. And essentially, this is what it did. So this was my foil, and then I trimmed this out, and then just so you can either use a like a sentiment strip die cut, or I used my paper trimmer and then just created a little flag tail kind of thing on the end of this. That's essentially what that is. Okay. Now let's peel these, and I will stick this down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tea. Woohoo. And we'll do the let's celebrate. Oh, that's so cute, right? So then this could be welcome to your new home. Woohoo, congratulations on the baby. Woohoo, happy birthday. Let's celebrate. So that's what that can be. Now, I am going to add some more stars to the sky because I've got all of my little, like my white splatter there, which adds the stars there. But I want a few in the front here. So I have a couple of stars here. So I have these ones, which are kind of shades of blue and crystal, which could work quite nicely on here. Ooh, that's a lot. Probably don't need that many, but I'm going to need my wax pickup tool, which is right here. Okay, so let's pull that out and let's pull out a few stars. Out. Blue one up here. Off of the tweezers. And here. And of course, you can add as many or as few as you like. And kind of want to have them out here. So again, it looks like a starry night, right? See those there? So maybe I'll move that one out here. There we go. I'm pretty happy with that. 5 stars. These in here. And let's pull out some adhesive to stick these down with then. And a bit here. Get that one down. Next one. Oh, a little bit more. So because these stars are a little bigger, I do like to have well, it doesn't need to be super much, so it's squidging out, but you do want to have, because it's a slightly heavier embellishment, you do want to have a bit of adhesive behind it. Want a little bit more than just a small dot. Okay. So here we go. That's the card today. How adorable is that? Here's where we started. Now, if I want, and I probably will, I'm not going to make you guys wait while I do this, but I will add glossy accents here. I'll start it just so you can see how that goes. So I'm going to take my glossy accents, diamond accent, whatever you've got, basically is it's a liquid that will dry to a nice glossy finish. So I typically start it on my craft mat or something beside me here. And then I will just go and fill in the lines here. And I'm just kind of dragging it along, squeeging out a little bit. If you wanted more glitter in this, you could do this with Nouveau drops or what are they, stickles, or like a one that's got some nice, like a diamond dust or glitter one. That would be pretty cute and will work same way. This one I had the glitter or the shimmer spray. So I spritzed it and then did my glossy accents over top of it. Very, very simply, because I have that supply. I also have stickles too. Let's be honest. Also Nouveau drops too. But because I'm coloring, because there's so much of it, I like to use, because this is a bigger bottle. I tend to utilize this if I'm doing this much of coloring, because this will dry a lot quicker. This will be dry in about an hour, dry to a touch where I can stack it or photo or like take photos of it, or if I had to travel home, like if I was doing this at a crop or something like that. Nouveau drops take at least 24 hours. Stickles are they will dry a little quicker. But you can see here, like this isn't even, I'm halfway done. I didn't intend to do this, but now I'm pretty darn close to halfway done here. So might as well just show you real time how long this takes. And essentially all I'm doing is just kind of following the outline. I'm trying to stay on the die cut. I'm not lifting too far, so I don't want to get right to the edge, just just beside the edge. That way then it doesn't leak over, it just stays on the die cut kind of thing. Because this will self-correct. It's like a self-correcting fluid too. It will go into the like smooth out. And if you do get spaces that you didn't mean to have it in, so for example, I don't know if you can see this here, but in rabbit's legs, I got a little carried away right here. So I'm going to take my weeding tool and I'm just going to put, kind of lift out some of that and then squish it off onto my fingers here, but just like that there. So now it's not, that won't be glossy now. Okay, so continue on doing this. So far, I hope you guys have been enjoying the videos for the year. Yeah, we should be, by the time this comes up, it should be in March, I think. So I hope you've been enjoying the videos, etc. Again, if there's anything that you would like to learn or you have some supplies in your stash and you're like, how was I supposed to use this? I don't remember. Can you show me? Or have you got any techniques for doing this? That would be good. By all means, please share that, and I'd be happy to see if I can help out. Particularly if I have the item, I really always like to research and look at new ways of how to utilize what I already have. So yeah, looking for it. I'd love to hear about that. Do you think that this is a technique you'd like to do? I love creating nighttime skies. I've done ink blended nighttime skies because I love the look of nighttime skies. I love Aurora Borealis or the Northern Lights. So I love to create those. And then I have a lot of stamps and sentiments and things like that that work really well with it. So I like to create those. But do you think that this would be like a technique that would be easy for you to utilize? So when I'm done with glossy accents, I put the lid back on and then I store it upside down so that it's all ready and ready to go right when I need it. And it also helps to prevent some clogging. And I notice here I got a weensy bit carried away at Christopher Robin's leg. So I'm just going to go in and pick up with my weeding tool, pick up some of the over spillage, which is good. And before I go and stick my card in the glossy accents here, I'm just going to wipe that up. And the reason why I started on my craft mat is to check and make sure that it's going to be flowing, that I haven't got a giant clog or something right there that when I try to squeeze it, it'll go all over my project. That is so not fun. You can see here, I outlined it all. Would that take me? It didn't even take me 5 minutes to do that. But that will dry to a beautiful glossy shine like this. So again, it highlights the silhouette of what we've done. So this is the class today. Here, I'm going to give you a peek here of what the one that the night sky that we did. Check out. Now this is dry to the touch. It's still cold. So that means then that it's still dry. It's still wet underneath, but it is dry to the touch. So I can rub my fingers over it. And you can see here, again, I've used the re-inkers and that is adhering really well to the paper. But you can imagine how cool, because again, I have another one here ready to go. Look at what that's going to look like. If you can imagine, if we add in, my orientation just changed. So before we finish here, I'm going to just kind of wrap this up. But you can imagine what this will look like once we've got the stars and everything. That's going to be really adorable. So I'm going to wrap it up now because again, I don't know, I probably got a text or something and it switched the orientation on my phone. But I will try and remember to leave the link for the spellbinders for the die. If you are interested in purchasing it or looking to find it, you can either Google it or go to spellbinders. Also, I will be leaving the link if you've enjoyed my videos, the class link videos, etc., and you find value in them and would like to support me or would like to support me or help out with that, then I will leave the Buy Me a Coffee link in the description below. Until the next time, take care, guys. Bye-bye.